Good morning, gang. Happy Friday morning. How many of y'all remember the Great Recession of 2008, 2009? You know, the economy collapsed and banks went out of business, brokerage firms. You remember what the reason was? Yeah, it was because we have to help people buy homes. As long as they can sign their name on the dotted line, we're going to give them a mortgage. And then everybody defaulted on those mortgages, and all of a sudden we had a financial collapse, a banking collapse. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac practically went under. You lost, again, banks and brokerage firms because they were just writing mortgages anywhere to anybody. Well, we get the second piece of information out of the Kamala Harris Economic Plan today. The first one, of course, we talked about yesterday, which was the price fixing on food, straight out of the Communist Manifesto. The second one she's going to roll out today is down payment assistance for people so they can buy their first home, up to $25,000. Gee, I wonder if these people also got their student loans forgiven. Tim Waltz's daughter did. She got $82,000 forgiven in student loans. The family's only worth about $130 million. Okay, just saying. But she needed the financial assistance. So this is what Kamala's going to run out today. Is if you've paid your rent on time for the last 2 years, that's the qualification, guys, that you qualify for up to $25,000 in down payment assistance. Now I want you to think about something real quick. The average price of a home in the United States right now is about $400,000. Depending on where you are. Hey, I mean, you live in Hawaii, you live in California, the average price there is $800,000, $750,000. Okay, it's a lot of money. Nobody said you got to live in Hawaii or California. There's plenty of places in the country where you can get houses for less than $400,000. I know because we bought ours 2 years ago for $217,000. Okay. Granted, that was, or 5 years ago. Granted, that was 5 years ago. Okay. But still, there's plenty of places you can go. So you think about it. If the average price of a house is $400,000 and Kamala Harris wants to give people $25,000, that's a little better than 6%. Not bad, huh? Let's see. If somebody wants to buy a house, they can go get an FHA loan. That requires you to put down 3 to 3.5%. I don't know. Here's an idea. Go spend some time in the military. Get a VA loan. That requires a 0% down. That's how I bought my first house. I earned it. Okay? Why is it that we need to keep giving money away? Because they need to buy votes. That's what it is. You know, Kamala Harris is losing her ass in the younger demographic, which is historically something that votes liberal. You guys have all heard the phrase before, you know, if you vote Republican before age 30, you don't have a heart. If you vote Democrat after age 30, you don't have a brain. Okay, that's the thing. You know, when you're young and dumb, you vote Democrat. And even the young and dumb are coming around and going, you know what? This woman's an out-and-out communist. No. They're looking at $1,600 rent. There was a video yesterday about a 20-year-old woman going, this is what I spent my entire life looking forward to when I grew up, that I've got to pay $1,600 a month rent, and the first job they're going to give me out of college is customer service. Well, maybe you should have got a better degree, you know, got something that was useful. But yeah. So if you paid your rent for 2 years you get a free check for 25 grand. Who's going to pay for that? The builders aren't going, you know what? We'll just eat $25,000. How much profit margin do you think a home builder has? Do you see real estate agents cutting their commissions? A little bit. They might have to. There's a story yesterday about one of the top real estate brokers in the Dallas suburbs was some guy's Uber driver, because this top real estate agent hasn't sold a house since last fall, almost a year, because people can't afford the houses. People can't afford the mortgage rates. They were saying that nobody's even looking at houses. No showings. Okay? Why? Because of Bidenomics, which is Kamalanomics. It's the same thing. All these things she's going to do, please explain to me why you haven't done them for the last 3.5 years. You've been in charge. You've been the last person out of the room with Joe on every policy, right? I hate to tell you this, ma'am. Every one of the economic policies of Joe Biden, you own. This is what happens when you hitch your wagon to a demented old man, okay? So who's going to pay for all these $25,000 checks? You and me. In the form of more inflation, because somehow that lumber's got to get paid for. Somehow that electrical wire's got to get paid for. Those faucets and bricks and loads of concrete have to get paid for. And of course, the government will roll out the open checkbook. 25,000 for you and 25,000 for you. It starts to sound like an Oprah episode. Okay. You and I get to pay for it. And how will we pay for it? Oh, there'll be higher prices at Home Depot, higher prices at Tractor Supply, higher prices at Walmart, wherever it is. Because somebody's got to pay for this. This is what we get. This is what equity is. There's plenty of ways to buy a home without having a handout. You can save the money. Oh, but they can't save the money because rents are so high. Well, let's go into this. Why are rents so high? Supply and demand. Capitalism works really well. Demand is way up. Why? Because we have 20 some odd million illegals coming into this country that want a roof over their head too. And oh, they're given free money by the US government. Where's it all coming from? You know, you look at your paycheck and it used to be, oh, I don't know, you worked all day Monday and that went to the government and you got the rest to keep the rest of your check. Then it was till Tuesday lunch. Then it was till Wednesday lunch. Start doing a calculation. Sit down one day and look at your paycheck and see what's taken out in federal tax, state income tax if you have it, Social Security, and as much as they want to say, oh, you're just putting away money for savings. No, you're not, because they keep telling us Social Security will be broke before most of us retire, okay, or are eligible to collect at least. How much do you put away into Medicare? Oh, okay. So there goes that part of the paycheck. But then look at how you are taxed on your property, how you're taxed on sales tax or on gas tax or whatever. And you start adding this up and figure out what you're paying in taxes, and all of a sudden you realize you work 40 hours a week and you keep a little better than 16 hours worth of your work's pay. Just to give you an idea, it's Thursday before you start earning any money each week. And that's only going to get worse. Now, what kind of houses are these people going to buy? Just to give you an idea. A bank still isn't going to finance you unless you have a legitimate down payment. Even if you've got this $25,000 voucher, free money, from the government, like I said, that's only about 6%. A conventional mortgage takes 20%. So you don't qualify. Unless, of course, you came up with the other 14 yourself, and I can guarantee you these people don't have the 14% because they weren't able to save 3 to get an FHA loan that so many people get as their first home loan. Okay. Oh, but I have to pay PMI. Guess what? Yeah, you do. Okay. It's to protect the banks, from all the people who don't pay the mortgage, like 2008, 2009. That's how this works. So what are they going to buy? They're going to buy cheap houses where 25% is a significant down payment, which means they're going to have to buy $100,000 houses, $150,000 houses. What do those turn into be? Either rundown buildings. Okay, hey, you can go, I remember 10 years ago you could buy a city block in Detroit for $1 on eBay. Okay, you might still be able to do it. Who knows? There's probably plenty of places you can. But they're going to be buying these types of houses, cheap houses, or condos. Or more likely, as the administration's said, we're going to build, the government, a whole bunch of housing. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the great government housing. I don't know, Cabrini Green in Chicago, the Marcy projects in Brooklyn, Magnolia projects in New Orleans. How about Jordan Downs in Watts? Okay, Robert Taylor Homes in Chicago. I can tell you stories about that place from repoing cars. Okay, Queensbridge houses in Queens, New York. Yeah, that's what's coming to your neighborhood. And don't just think because you're rural that it's going to be, you're immune from this. Where's land cheaper? I mean, hell, you go to New York City and you want to buy $250,000 worth of land, you get about that much, okay? You come out where I am, out in the country, you want to buy $250,000 worth of land, you can find yourself a few acres. Easy, 5-10 acres, no problem. You can put up a project on 5 or 10 acres. Might not be huge, not going to be like one of the ones I just talked about, but that's what's coming. So all of us with the latest plans straight out of the Communist Manifesto are get lucky enough to pay higher prices at the store, pay higher interest rates on car payments, mortgage, insurance, food, whatever. And we get to import all the people who won't pay the mortgage again when interest rates go up because they have to when something like this happens. Don't believe me. Just look what interest rates have done in the last couple of years. We have inflation. They want to control inflation. They raise interest rates. It's a vicious circle. You spend too much money, inflation happens, interest rates go up, everybody gets hurt. Simple. But this is the next plan out of this witch that's running for office. We need to go back to where we were 4 years ago. Or we need to go back to where we were 40 years ago. Because those were the good times. Progressive, which Kamala Harris claims to be, means moving forward. If that's the forward they want, we need to be moving backward. Because I wasn't even alive for the 40s to 50s and couldn't remember anything from the 60s. But it sure seemed funny how then somebody with a high school education could afford a house on one income raise a couple of kids, own a car or two, and worked at the same job for 30 years. Why can't we do that anymore? One word: liberalism. It's coming, guys. This is it. She is laying out the plan to turn the United States communist. Ask Mrs. P. Mrs. P grew up in the Soviet Union. You know that, okay? The Soviet Union fell when she was 14. The apartment that she lived in was government housing, because everything was in the Soviet Union. And eventually, when the Soviet Union collapsed, they gave the apartment to whoever the apartment owner was, and they had private ownership of it. The crime wasn't the same in where she lived as it is in Cabrini Green, but the buildings looked the same. It was cinder block walls, small apartments, and that was it. That's what's coming. We've talked about this many, many times before. They want to move us into 15-minute cities. This is the plan, guys. We'll build all this stuff. We'll sell it to you cheap. We'll even help you buy it. Here, little sheep, let us put you in the pen, and we'll be the sheepdog. Yeah, that's what's coming. Pinball out.